This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel des. 毎日アップするので毎日見てください. I bring you content every single day, so please check in every day for this content. And today's a whopper. I'm bringing you 10 Jordan sneakers. 10 Jordan sneakers in once. I do wish they were in hand, but I'm not a rich man. If you appreciate not rich men doing work and trying to scratch a living out of a YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button down below. But what it is I want to talk to you about the upcoming releases from the Jordan brand. And there was a strange story on the Sneaker News app which talked about the upcoming sneaker releases from the Air Jordan brand. And I'm going to talk about why that was a strange story and what I think of each of the 10 sneakers that they talked about in today's video. As I said in the introduction, today is all about the upcoming releases from the Air Jordan brand and a particular story that appeared on the Sneaker News website, which has since become harder to find. I found it on, I think I found it on Wednesday, and then when I thought, you know what, that's a good subject to make a video about, and I went back to find it again. It was very hard for me to find. Maybe they've archived it off the site, but they can't erase it from the site. But I was able to get back in there and find it again, but it was extremely difficult. Try for yourself to go to the Sneaker News site. And actually, when I do these videos about a pack of sneakers or multiple sneakers, I like to have my iPad in hand so I get the accurate information. And the exact title of that story on the Sneaker News website was Jordan Retro Summer 2019 Preview. Jordan Retro Summer 2019 Preview. And if you want to try and find that or check it out and find the story for a start, but also if you want to check out the information I'm talking about and see if that article has been buried for some reason. Maybe they buried it for some reason. And maybe that means the information I'm about to give you today is wrong. But maybe it's not. But anyway, 10 Jordan sneakers. You know, who doesn't like Jordan sneakers? I've never owned a pair of Jordan sneakers, and I'm trying to build this channel to a position where I can buy my first Jordan sneakers. So hit subscribe. I want Jordans. But for now, anyway, let's talk about this. 10 sneakers on that list. And it's weird, because the Bread 4s aren't on the list, dropping May 4th. It used to be May 11th, moved to May 4th. The Bread 4s aren't on the list, and the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s are not on the list. Did they drop them? I think it was a quick strike, is that what they call it? A quick strike for the, what's it called? The NBA weekend. What's that game called when they do that game? Somebody help me. I'm old and decrepit and I need help. What's the game called when they play against each other? I can't remember. Anyway, the Air Jordan, the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s drop in May 3rd. Currently, I think they're going to move that drop date, but currently to drop in May 3rd are not on this list. So I don't really know what Nike or Sneaker News were going for in bringing out this list. Are these the sneakers that they've already said are going to drop, but the hype isn't there, so they're trying to give the hype a bit of a boost? Because if you think of the Bread 4s and the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s, they don't need no help in getting their hype. So maybe that's something to do with it. But anyway, the what's it called? The promotional materials are bringing these sneakers out in 3 rows, as you can see from this shot up here. There's actually 4 Air Jordan 4s that are coming out, but that doesn't fit neatly into 3 rows, so they cut one of them out of this picture. And I will bring you my information, my take on these 4 sneakers now in 3 rows. So we'll start off with the Air Jordan 4s. And what did I write here in my research? Let's just get the ridiculous out of the way. Jordan 4 Flyknits, are you kidding? That's literally what I wrote here. I have no way of knowing if you can see this on my iPad there. I'll try and hold it steady enough, and hopefully you can actually see that I did write. Let's just get the ridiculous out of the way. Jordan 4 Flyknits, are you kidding? And, you know, I've never owned a pair of Jordans, and I'm trying to build this channel to a place where I can buy my first pair of Jordans. So am I allowed to criticize the Jordan brand? Dang right I am. I have an opinion, and just because I haven't owned Jordans, I'm still going to give it to you. And doing Jordan 4s in Flyknit, I think, is an absolute travesty blasphemy. You can't take an iconic sneaker like that and stick on an upper like this. Some people out there might like it. Some people might appreciate that and really like what they've done here. They might like that kind of bridge between the OG silhouette of the 4s and obviously the contemporary technology of the Flyknit design and upper. Me, myself, I don't like it. I do like sneakers when they come in all one color sometimes. I'm not against it, but all 4 of the 4s that are dropping sometime over the next few months come in solid colors, one single colorway from top to toe, from tip to heel. The whole thing is one single colorway, and those colorways are red, blue, orange, and Volt is what I've written here on my list. Volt or yellow, whichever one you want to take it. And like I said, there were 3 of those colorways in the promotional materials, but one of them, an extra one on here, is actually 4, so red, blue, orange, and Volt. So I have to say, you know, actually, I wrote here, just pig ugly, I'm afraid. God, maybe I was tired when I wrote these. I don't know, but anyway, just pig ugly. And I talked about this yesterday. What did I do yesterday? It was the foam posits. Oh no, it was 2 days ago. Was it yesterday? Was the 2 days ago when I was talking about the shocks. Anyway, and also I talked about it with the on-air pack about the manipulation of the consumer by the brand because they wait like 20 years to re-release a shoe so that they can make it popular with the current generation, but actually score money off the generation who originally bought it as well, which I think's, you know, kind of cheap in a way. And this is another marketing technique that I don't know. You tell me your opinion of it, okay? The Adidas Yeezy 350 V2 Clay, Hyperspace, and TRFRM, Terraform or Trueform, dropped in regional exclusive places. One was Asia, that was the Hyperspace. One was Europe, that was the Terraform, and one was the Americas, which was the Clay. And that drove sales and also drove resales, because it was hard for Americans to get their hands on Hyperspace, for example, or hard for people in Asia to get their hands on Clay. And then so the sales were there, but the resale was also there. These 4 Air Jordan 4s with this Flyknit upper are going to drop regional exclusive, which I think is quite a step. Is it because there's no hype, so they do it this way to ensure sales, perhaps? Is it just, you know, something unique, fun from Nike's point of view? Is it to drive sales? Is it to drive resales? I don't know. But anyway, regional exclusive drops in June. So it worked for the 350 V2. So we'll see if it works for the Air Jordan 4s. Strange thing to do when they're dropping the bread 4s at the start of May, but you know, that's Nike's choice. Just pig ugly, I'm afraid. Okay, and then on to the next row of sneakers. There's 3 sneakers. So the Jordan 4s are obviously the same silhouette, and it's the same Flyknit, so that's a group of sneakers. The last 3 sneakers that we'll look at is the 6, 7, and 8s, which come out, and it's a very similar colorway, and there's a connection between them. The middle ones that we're talking about right now, there's no real connection between each one of them. One of them's already dropped. That was the Air Jordan 14, and I totally missed the mark on that review because I thought that those 14s were going to drop at a different time. There was no information. I couldn't find any information about them, even 2 days before the drop date, and I was like, wow, they're changing that drop date. I was sure I even put it up in the title of my video, and I could change that title. It's very easy to change those titles, but I choose not to. I like to be authentic and keep it there. It was a mistake on my part and I was wrong, but they have already dropped the Air Jordan 14 Candy Canes, for want of a better word. They did say it was Rip Hamilton player exclusive originally in the promotional materials, but then that disappeared as well. So I don't know, something funky, something hinky happened with that drop, but you know, that's that. Then we've also in this sort of, you know, the middle 3 sneakers, we've got 2 more. Actually, I'm going to put this down because at my age it's kind of hard to keep a hold of your iPad. I'm so old. The next two are Air Jordan 13s, the cap and gowns. Again, talking about the manipulation of the consumer, dropping right in time for graduation season. So you're getting people who are graduating college, graduating high school. Here in Japan, you graduate from preschool. It's unbelievable. Kindergarten graduation. So they're dropping this cap and gown colorway in time for the graduation season. I'm not a huge fan of it. I do like 13s very, very much. Very much. Like I'm a big fan of the 13s. In fact, I consider it the last great Jordan sneaker. But I don't like this, is it matte finish or gloss? I think it's gloss. The gloss finish on the upper. I don't think it looks very good. I know they're going for that, you know, the black caps and that satiny effect and all that kind of stuff with the gowns and things. But I'm not a huge fan of it. And then we come to the last of these three middle sneakers, and it's the Air Jordan 14 Ferrari yellow. Is it really a Ferrari yellow or not? I don't know. The iconic red 14s that came out in that Ferrari colorway were really, you know, that they're considered one of the better of the Air Jordan 14 sneakers. And then coming out with this yellow has been talked about a lot. I don't want to use the word hype though. It's something that's been talked about for a long time. The yellow 14s, the Ferrari 14s, talked about for a long time. But I've got a funny feeling that they've waited too long on this one. I've got a funny feeling the candy canes, as I said, already dropped, and I checked the sneakers app before earlier this week. I haven't looked for a while at the candy canes. At least I should check that. But they didn't sell out instantly. The candy cane 14s. They might have sold out since, but they didn't sell out instantly. And I've got a funny feeling that these yellow Ferrari 14s are not going to sell out too. So, but I was so wrong about the drop date of the candy cane 14s. I'm probably wrong about the yellow Ferraris as well. Okay, and then that brings us into the last of the three sneakers. As I said, it's the 6, 7s and 8s. And I really appreciate these guys coming out together, because I think I'm right in saying that 6, 7s and 8s were the first of the first three-peat of the Jordan rings. He won his first championship ring winning 6 and then 7s and then 8s, and then he had a break and he did a three-peat again. So I kind of appreciate these coming out together, and I'm absolutely in love with the colorway of these guys. I dig that grey, that particular grey. I think it's a really cool colorway. Now, the reason that I really dig that colorway is because it harkens back to the 90s, when I was growing up in the 90s, I've said before in other videos, I think the one about how I explained why I've never owned a pair of Jordans before, I didn't grow up very wealthy at all. In fact, I grew up poor, let's just be blunt about it. And one of the things I really wanted as a kid growing up in the 90s was that like, for example, clothes, we would have clothes for many years, or the bedding. I know it's a strange thing to talk about in a sneaker video, but the bedding on our beds was the same bedding every year. But my wealthier friends would update their sheets and things like that more often, shall we say, you know, and it became a thing in the 90s, you know. Some people had Disney and some people had, I don't know, like Masters of the Universe or whatever. Same with like wallpaper and things like that, you know, you'd refresh your bedroom from time to time, but we weren't at all wealthy and we couldn't afford to do that. And one of the things that was really popular at the time in the 90s was anything that was grey, red, black and white. Grey, red, black and white together was a real kind of combination of colours in the mid-90s, early 90s that really was fashionable for whatever reason. And these sneakers hark back to that. So you've got the 6s with their grey upper and those distinctive red sort of, what are they called? Like the shark, they're like the 5 shark's teeth, but they're not really, but above the air units. So you've got that grey, you've got that red, there's black and there's white in there as well. And then if you look at the 7s too, it's they're subtle in terms of the colours and the hits of colours on the 6s and the 7s, but you jump to the 8s and that midfoot section there where it's all a splash of colour. But definitely the 3 of them with their grey colourways and then their hits of black, white and red in there are 100% harking back to the 90s and back to when I was in high school. So there is that nostalgia effect there. I won't be getting any of these sneakers. In fact, I could go to the whole 10 if we reverse and look at all 4 Jordan 4s, the 2 14s, one's already on sale, and the 13s, and then these 3, the 6, 7s and 8s. I'm not going to be trying to buy any of them. I'm not a huge fan of 6, 7s and 8s. Like I said, I didn't like that kind of glossy finish on the 13s. I'm not sure about those, the yellow Ferrari ones. The candy canes are already on sale, and the Flynet 4s. I mean, God. But I've never owned Jordans, as I said before, and I'm looking to try and build this channel into a place where I can get Jordans in hand for the first time ever and bring that to you guys out there. So do hit that subscribe button down below and help me do that. But for now, that's all I've got to say on the subject of these 10 Jordans releasing throughout the next couple of months. And I go back to what I said at the start of this video, is I don't know why that news story was out there. I'm not sure what the intent of it was. Why did they bring that news story out? And the only thing I can come up with is that because the Bread 4s and the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s and any other kind of hype sneaker isn't on this list, is I think they've identified these 10 sneakers as sneakers that people are not going to be chasing after. Maybe they've done, what do politicians do, right? When they check out, how do things poll, right? Maybe they've done polls about these sneakers and they're like not performing in pre-sales the way that they expect them to, so they bring out this story to kind of try and push them along a bit. But it'll be interesting to see as they come out across the next couple of months, and that particularly that regional exclusive ugly Flynet 4s. Will the ugly be offset by the regional exclusive and the fact that they're 4s, or are these things just going to be laughed at and sit on shelves? I have my opinion, but that doesn't affect reality, and it'll be interesting to see what reality comes up with. For now, it's time for me to check off, and thank you for checking in on my content for another week of Tokyo Butter 23. As usual, I will be back next week, and tomorrow is next week, so I'll be back tomorrow with more content. But for now, it's time to sign off, and thank you for checking in, and I'll just say what I say at the end of every single video, that I'm going to see you tomorrow.